मेरी तो तमन्ना ये है, मेरी तो आशा ये है, ईश्वर से प्रार्थना ये है कि हिंदुस्तान ऐसा बने कि जिससे सारी दुनिया कहे कि अगर आज़ाद बनना है तो हिंदुस्तान के जैसे आज़ाद बनो। ऐसा करने में आप लोग बहुत बड़ा हिस्सा ले सकते हैं। सब के सब अपनी जगह पर अपना धर्म का पालन करें तो हिंदुस्तान जैसा मैं आपको कहता हूँ ऐसा बन सकता है, उसमें मुझको तनिक भी शंका नहीं है।
The voice you heard was the real voice of Mahatma Gandhi, the man who changed history of India forever and with his non-violent measures gained independence for the country. But before you think that this is just about India, wait. Gandhi's fame and good work wasn't just limited to one country. He already gained a lot of respect and popularity in South Africa before he even came to India. From Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi to Mahatma Gandhi, from non-violent life principles to tragic violent assassination by a Hindu nationalist, how this man made every single hindrance bow down to him and denied all failures coming his way to free his country. This video is dedicated to the great soul's life and his struggles to achieve Purna Swaraj for his India. But before we start this video, please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for regular updates. Also, do not forget to click the like button if you find our content interesting. This will encourage us to do more such valuable work and our content will reach more people across YouTube. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi was born in an Indian Gujarati family in Porbandar on 2nd October 1869. His father, Karamchand Uttarchand Gandhi, was a diwan in Porbandar and his mother, Putlibai, was a housewife and a very religious lady. Gandhi was very much influenced by his mother and personalities such as King Harishchandra, which prove his love towards religion and the principle of always abiding by the truth in life since very childhood. As a child in school, he was a shy kid who was more into books and school lessons than games. Mahatma Gandhi was married at a very young age of 14 to Kasturbai Makhanji Kapadia, better known as Kasturba Gandhi. In 1885, he lost his father and his first child in the same year, which completely shattered him emotionally at such a young age. However, Gandhi still continued with his responsibilities and completed his high school graduation at the age of 18 from Ahmedabad. After this, Gandhi went to London for getting his law degree from the University of London and became a barrister in 1891. When he came back to India, he started practicing law in Bombay but could not do much as he failed in cross-examining his witnesses. After this, he got an opportunity to practice law in South Africa and went there in April 1893. South Africa was a British colony then, and Gandhi faced a lot of discriminations and bullying due to his skin color in the early days of his arrival in South Africa. It completely shook him how some people consider themselves superior just because of the color of their skin or their heritage. Gandhi was once traveling in a train where he was forcefully kicked out of the white-only coach by an official just because of his skin color, and he was not allowed to travel. Not just this, but even on the streets, he and other so-called colored people were called a parasite, yellow man, coolie, etc. He had enough and he decided to fight for the rights of people and oppose discrimination, injustice, bullying and humiliation. And now this is when Gandhi's life took a turn. This led to the formation of Natal Indian Congress in 1894, a political party that unified all the Indians in South Africa as a powerful political force that would oppose the bill that denied them their right to vote and fight against racial discrimination and injustice. In 1906, Mahatma Gandhi adopted his methodology of Satyagrah or civil disobedience movement for the first time. It was called civil disobedience because of the fact that it opposed the law, but it was a non-violent protest. Yes, the first civil disobedience movement by Gandhi was in South Africa. After almost 7 years of struggle, Mahatma Gandhi finally successfully negotiated with South African government. After gaining a lot of popularity as an Indian nationalist and a leader, Gandhi returned to India in January 1915 on request of Gopal Krishna Gokhale, an Indian political leader during Indian independence movement. Gandhi joined Indian National Congress and learned about several issues of the country, including political aspects and concerns of people. He was given the title Mahatma or the Great Soul by Rabindranath Tagore in March as he gave up his career and adopted a very simple lifestyle for the independence of his country. Later that year in May, he founded his first ashram called Sabarmati Ashram with his followers in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. Gandhi's first Satyagrah movement in India took place in the Champaran district of Bihar. It took place in April 1917 and was known as the Champaran Satyagrah. In the British colonial rule, many tenant farmers were forced to grow indigo in a portion of their land as a condition of tenancy. This indigo was used to make dye, whose prices fell down as Germany invented a cheaper alternative. However, in World War I, supply from Germany almost ceased and the farmers were again forced to grow indigo at very low rates instead of the food crops, which were a necessity for them. This created rage among the farmers as they didn't get enough money and were struggling from poverty. One such indigo farmer, Rajkumar Shukla, went to Gandhi's ashram seeking help. Gandhi, with a team of efficient lawyers, came to Champaran, and this is when he began his first ever satyagraha in India and protested non-violently. As a result, Gandhi took the administration by surprise and the Champaran Agrarian Bill was passed, which gave the indigo cultivators great relief and concessions by authorities. After the Champaran movement, Satyagraha became a part of Indian independence struggle. Gandhi also emerged as a strong national leader, and this is when he was given the name Bapu. The second Satyagraha led by Mahatma Gandhi was Kheda Satyagraha of 1918 in Kheda district of Gujarat. Kheda was hit by floods and famine, due to which the peasants were demanding tax relief from the authorities. They signed a petition seeking non-payment of tax in the wake of famine. However, the government rejected it and warned the peasants of confiscation of their lands and properties. On Gandhi and Sardar Patel's suggestion, the taxes were not paid and properties were seized by the authorities. Farmers, however, were so much influenced by Gandhi that they did not resist arrest and instead ignored the violence by people arresting them. The movement was notable in terms of unity and discipline and proved how much influential leader Gandhi was. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel was also a very important participant with Gandhi in this movement, as he negotiated with the British while representing the farmers. The result of this satyagraha was that not just tax for the year in question was relieved, but also for the next year till famine ended. The seized properties were returned and prisoners were also released. During World War I, Gandhi helped the British with resources and by recruiting Indian soldiers to fight in the war. The motivation behind this support was the promise given by British government that they will give Swaraj or self-governance to India. However, after the war, British government did not keep their word and just made some reforms instead, which disappointed Gandhi. In return, Gandhi gave hints of another civil disobedience movement against the British, as a result to which the British authorities passed Rowlatt Act, which allowed the British government to treat any participant of civil disobedience movement as a criminal and arrest them legally. In February 1919, Mahatma Gandhi had already told Viceroy of India that if the Britishers passed Rowlatt Act, he would urge all the Indians to participate in civil disobedience movement. The British authorities, however, ignored him and passed the law saying they are not going to be threatened. The civil disobedience movement followed, and people from various parts of the country gathered at different locations protesting against the law on different occasions non-violently. On 19th March 1919, in Delhi, British officers opened fire on unarmed people protesting peacefully. Riots followed, and people were raged by this incident. On 6th April, Gandhi told them to still remain non-violent, yet show their frustrations by giving up all the British goods and burn any British clothing they owned. Several communities around the country announced that they are going to protest in huge numbers. On April 13, 1919, many people including women and children gathered in Amritsar and Jallianwala Garden to protest. An officer named Reginald Dyer surrounded them with his force and ordered the troops to open fire on them. Several people were brutally shot dead, and this incident was called Jallianwala Bagh Massacre. All the oppressions by British officials led Gandhi to believe that Indians could never get justice and fair treatment under the British rule. This is when Gandhi shifted his focus to Purna Swaraj, that is complete self-governance. In 1921, Gandhi became the leader of Congress Party, and due to his support to Khilafat movement, a political movement by Muslims of India to restore the Caliph of Ottoman Empire, Muslims also were now with him. This drew a lot of British Raj's attention towards Gandhi, as he had now political as well as public support. With all the incidents like Jallianwala Bagh Massacre and injustice by Britishers, Gandhi decided he would start a non-cooperation movement. He strongly believed that British could only rule because of Indians cooperating with them. This was already clearly mentioned in a book written by him, namely Hind Swaraj. He now started to spread awareness about the Swadeshi policy and included it in his non-cooperation movement. The Swadeshi policy meant usage of only self-made goods and boycott of any foreign goods, especially from the British. Gandhi strongly encouraged all Indians to take some time every day spinning the khadi on a charkha and wear that khadi or local homespun cloth and give up any British-made textiles. Not just this, he also urged people to give up British law courts, institutions, any titles and honors given by British authorities, and jobs by the government. This way, his non-cooperation movement focused on crippling the British Raj economically, politically, and administratively. The non-cooperation movement spread like a wildfire among the Indian society. On 2nd February 1922, the non-cooperation volunteers from Gorakhpur district in Uttar Pradesh gathered together protesting against the high food prices and liquor sales in the market. They were not just beaten up by the local police, but lot of leaders were also arrested and put in the Chaura police station lockup. As a result, on 5th February, over 2,500 people marched towards the market and police station, raising anti-government slogans demanding release of their leaders. Situation got out of control and a sub-inspector ordered fire on the masses, due to which 3 people were shot dead and several others wounded. This raged the public even more and the incident turned violent. The police station was set on fire and local policemen inside died. There are no exact numbers as how many policemen died, but most literatures mention 22 to 23 deaths. This incident was called the Chaura incident. After this, the British ordered martial law around Chaura and hundreds of people were arrested. Gandhi went on a 5-day hunger strike and halted the non-cooperation movement at the moment, as he thought people need to be more informed and educated about his non-violent principles to gain independence. Mahatma Gandhi was arrested on 10th March 1922 on the charges of sedition. He was sentenced to 6 years imprisonment starting from 18th March 1922. Gandhi was however released from the jail in just 2 years for an appendicitis operation. Once released, Gandhi again started his struggle for Swaraj. In December 1928, he demanded dominion status for India or the British will have to face non-cooperation again. In March 1930, Mahatma Gandhi launched a new civil disobedience movement called Salt Satyagrah or Dandi March. Dandi March was basically against the British Raj repressing salt taxes imposed on Indians. Indians were not allowed to produce their own salt and sell during the colonial time. Salt Satyagrah hence was a non-violent protest against the salt laws. The Dandi March continued for almost 24 days from 12th March to 6th April 1930 with almost 78 trusted volunteers to millions of Indians by the time it ended. It started from Sabarmati Ashram in Ahmedabad to Dandi, around 388 kilometers. Walking almost 16 kilometers a day, Gandhi ended up this movement by picking up a handful of salt himself, hence technically breaking the law. It is estimated that almost 60,000 people were arrested during this movement, including Jawaharlal Nehru. Salt Satyagraha and the non-violent approach of Gandhi also influenced leaders like Martin Luther King Jr.
I would agree with Gandhi that if the only alternative to violence, to fear, is violence and vice versa, then I would say fight. But it isn't the only alternative. And that is the one point that Gandhi was trying to bring out.
Mahatma Gandhi was arrested in May 1930 since he broke the salt laws. This led to a nationwide massive non-cooperation against the government, as a result of which Gandhi was released in January 1931. This led to the Gandhi-Irwin Pact in 1931, which was signed between Gandhi and Lord Irwin, the then Viceroy of India. According to this pact, Congress would take back the civil disobedience movement and the authorities would release all the prisoners who were not violent in the movement, and also salt laws were reconsidered and the people near sea coasts were allowed to collect salt. Gandhi attended a second roundtable conference in Britain and this was the only time he left India between 1914 and his death. After coming back to India, he started another satyagraha which led to his arrest once again and he was sent to Yerwada prison, Pune. While he was in jail, the British government enforced a new law which gave untouchables a new electorate and they called it communal award. Gandhi was afraid that this would divide the society and started an Amaran Anshan or fast to death in jail. However, many people including the minorities were in favor of this and most notably by B.R. Ambedkar, the leader of scheduled castes. This led to a compromise between Ambedkar and Gandhi and communal award was now revised to the Purna Pact. Due to the British's communal award, for the first time labeling one's caste became sort of compulsion. In 1934, Gandhi resigned from Congress but returned to politics again in 1936 with the same goal of complete independence.
If England does not grant your demands, are you prepared to return to jail again?
I am always prepared to return to jail.
Would you be prepared to die in the cause of India's independence?
It is a bad question.
During the World War II, Gandhi insisted everyone not to support the British by any means, but this was a failure as many including leaders like Sardar Patel and Rajendra Prasad didn't support him. Lakhs of Indians ignored Gandhi and joined the British military in several fronts. As the war continued, Gandhi was now more aggressive with his demand of independence and demanded the British to quit India in his speech on 8 August 1942 in Mumbai. In response, Gandhi and several Congress leaders were arrested. Raged Indians this time didn't go non-violent and started to burn down and damage government offices, police stations, railway stations, telegraph wires, etc. Gandhi insisted all the countrymen to stay peaceful and yet quit any sort of cooperation with the government. They should neither kill nor injure any British but be ready to bear any violence by the officials. This was the time when Gandhi came up with Karo Ya Maro, or do or die for rights and freedom. Gandhi was arrested for 2 years and released before the end of World War as his health deteriorated in prison. The British did not want Gandhi to die in prison as this would anger the whole nation. Gandhi's wife also died after 18 months of imprisonment on 2nd February 1944. When he came out of jail, a lot in politics had changed and demand for a separate Muslim country by Jinnah had become a hot topic at that time. Gandhi insisted for one united nation in which Muslims and non-Muslims all would live, but Jinnah rejected the idea. At the end of war, British gave clear signals that they would give power to Indians back again, and Gandhi called off the struggle. Thousands of political prisoners were released. The Congress and Gandhi called for British to quit India, and Gandhi was strictly against the idea of division of the nation on religious grounds. Muhammad Ali Jinnah, however, adamantly demanded divide and quit India. Gandhi made a proposal that Congress and Muslim League cooperate with each other, but Jinnah rejected the proposal. He called for a direct action day on 16th August 1946 to address Muslims and ask for their support in favor of division of the nation in a Muslim and non-Muslim state. In West Bengal, Hussain Shahid Sohrawardi, leader of the Muslim League, declared a special holiday for police to celebrate the Direct Action Day. On this day, unfortunately, mass murders of Calcutta Hindus were triggered and their properties were burnt down. There was no police to stop the conflicts due to the declared holiday. Hindus retaliated to this, and as a result of the conflict, thousands were killed and tens of thousands were injured. The British accepted to give independence but also accepted Jinnah's proposal to divide India. The partition was very violent and controversial, leading to over 500,000 deaths of people as almost 10 to 12 million non-Muslims, mostly Hindus and Sikhs, migrated from Pakistan to India and Muslims from India to Pakistan. On 15th August 1947, India finally got its independence, but Gandhi, more than celebrating the independence, appealed to the people to maintain peace and harmony in the nation instead. In the evening of 30th January 1948, Gandhi was on his way to address a prayer with his grandnieces. He was in the garden of Birla House when a Hindu nationalist named Nathuram Godse shot him thrice with a pistol in the chest. Gandhi succumbed to death, and this day is marked as one of the darkest days Indian nation has seen. The nation lost its father. Who knew that one day the man who stood by the principles of non-violence will meet such a violent death? After his death, Jawaharlal Nehru addressed the countrymen through All India Radio.
The light has gone out of our lives and there is darkness everywhere. And I do not quite know what to tell you and how to say it. Our beloved leader, Bapu as we called him, the father of the nation, is no more. Perhaps I am wrong to say that. Nevertheless, we will not see him again as we have seen him for these many years. We will not run to him for advice and seek solace from him. And that is a terrible blow, not to me only, but to millions and millions in this country.
Godse and several other conspirators involved in Gandhi's murder were arrested and tried in the court at Delhi's Red Fort. During the trial, Godse did not deny anything nor expressed any guilt. Nathuram was found guilty and executed in 1949. Gandhi's 5-mile-long funeral from Birla House to Rajghat was joined by over 1 million people. Indeed, a gloomy day for India. This video was Failure Denied's tribute to Mahatma Gandhi, the father of Indian nation.